And we're back once again, only on its last call. Last call, the alcohol, only on the last call podcast.com. And we're talking some pro wrestling here. We're actually, it's going to be the last call YouTube channel. And join me here. Well, I have my usual round table of guys from the Wrestling Ropes podcast. And we're going to be breaking down AEW, WWE. And this man here is even some TNA. And this man here loves to bring the fire. I give you from the Wrestling Ropes podcast himself. I give you DeeJay. So DeeJay, let's start off here.
You
We'll start with the appetizer because we got to start with appetizer. So this Friday night, December 13th, TNA presents once again their next PLE, which is Final Resolution. And I gotta say, I like this because it's not too many matches. It's 7 matches added on. A seventh, which is gonna be in a pre-show. Maybe it'll be a little more. But for now, it's 6 matches on the main cards. Not too much, not too many. How much do you enjoy that where it's like, okay, this show will be over probably by 10:30. I'm not staying up till midnight.
I think it's good for the pacing of the show. Like with AEW, it's just back to back to back to back to back. So it's just like, damn, can I ever get a break from this shit? It's like the break in betweens is like a 2-minute video package, and then you're on to the next match. No matter what happened in the previous match, it doesn't matter if there was a beheading or a disarmament or whatever. 2 minutes and the next match is already out, to where now if with these shorter cards you get time to digest these match, maybe talk about it for a couple seconds, and then wow, okay, now the next match is coming out, you're ready. It's the pacing. It doesn't feel like it's a task.
And it's also, you can do like little promos, explain the story, why they're feuding. And if somebody's tuning in, it's like, oh, wait a minute, what's going on? Why is this match happening? Well, just because. Well, let's get
But I'm kind of looking forward to this. A lot of good matches on here.
So let's start with the first match. Jordan Grace, Rosemary. She's in a weird place because as I said, it's she's out the door in January. But she's WWE bound. It's the worst kept secret right now in pro wrestling. She's already made a couple appearances in NXT in the Royal Rumble. She'll probably be in the Royal Rumble again this year. So if you're TNA, I mean, you're trying to do the right thing, but at the same time, we're just like, okay, Jordan's gone, and they've helped facilitate this. So, what do you expect from this match, and how much should Jordan sell against Rosemary?
I mean, it's kind of obvious Jordan's doing the job here. She's going to be doing a lot of quote unquote jobs on the way out. Help get some people over, be a company girl, so that she's all about the business. She'll probably end up being back for a few dates at some point, even when she joins WWE in the future. I feel like WWE would be willing to let her come back for like a one-time something on like a big pay-per-view event if they need the views. It just, like I said, I think she'll do enough. She'll do a good job. I think she'll still have a viable match, but she'll lose in the end. Especially with TNA and the amount of eyeballs that are on it, her doing the job doesn't really devalue her stock in WWE. So,
Well, as long as it's not corny. I mean, does it ever devalue you? Because everybody sort of knows, like, okay, you're on your way out. We know that. I mean, WWE knows that they're not expecting her to just start destroying people left and right because they want to know, look, can she sell? Can she do business? Will she be a professional? Are we getting somebody who's sort of a head case? Like, I'm getting so this is for I'm guessing for her is also a way of like, all right, don't burn any bridges on the way out. Make sure your employers know that hey, if things aren't going your way, you won't be a pain in the rear end.
I don't think she has like any issues with TNA or anything. There's nothing that's been
No, I
reported.
know, but that's how for any wrestler, though, we like Jordan. I don't think has any, but for most of them, it's like you don't want to just piss off an employer that you're with just because hey, you never know. I might need them down the line, especially in pro wrestling where there's not many companies in the industry that itself that actually have a TV deal at all, and well, are still around and been around for at least 15 years.
I agree. Let's get on to this next match. I'm kind of interested in it.
So Moose versus Kushida for the X Division Championship. This is what they should do. What they will do is always. So I'm going to argue this because I know you have a different point. Moose should just beat Kushida in like 3 or 4 minutes. Just go in there, beat the piss out of him, and keep on bullying all these cruiserweights, going, "You are too small. Go home." This is all you little flippy dippy people need to just get lost. I mean, that's what he is. He's the big bad monster, the bully who beats up little kids, takes their lunch money, shoves them in the lockers, and keeps walking down the hallway because nobody can stop him. Kushida, Kushida, I have a lot of respect for, good wrestler, but this is a guy who's not known for promos. He's not known for being a guy who's the future of a company. He's not a young star, so this should be perfect for Moose. Where okay, we're gonna have you beat up this part of the story where eventually somebody who maybe it's a Leon Slater, maybe it's Ace Austin, somebody, or even somebody who's not on the roster yet, somebody though who eventually has to put Moose in his place, but not now. Moose should destroy Kushida in 3-4 minutes.
I agree wholeheartedly, which is rare for me. So I think Moose should also stay on this dominant run as well. I think he should be Kushida. But I just don't know where this Moose story is going at the moment. It's going to be really interesting to see how this tag team match goes and see if the system stays together. Because I think the system's breaking up soon. If they don't win these, especially don't win these tag belts. Because
maybe, but they're still henchmen. So Moose always needs henchmen. He needs to feel like he's the big deal. He just will start making fun of his henchmen a little more, but they're still his henchmen.
They're going to start teasing the breakup more, and then the henchmen are going to be like, you know what, fuck this, we're out of here, and that'll be the system break. You feel me? I feel like this is going to start leading towards the downturn.
I don't see that just because where do you put them? Edwards was a bland baby face. Brian Myers is a natural heel. It's like you sort of need the system. They eventually because they're basically what Judgment Day is in WWE, or you could argue the Elite is in AEW. They are the heel group. They don't usually.
They all broke up at some point. The Elite is not the same Elite that came into AEW.
Yeah, that's for a different reason because guys got bad either health reasons.
Line in WWE right now, or you know what I mean? Groups change, shit changes, shit happens. So I like I said, I can see dissension start happening within the group. I don't know who's turning on who. It could be both of them turning on Moose. It could be one of them turning on each other because one of them wants, like how Kaiser did with Vinci and Imperium. You know what I mean? Kaiser kicked Vinci out, beat the fuck out of him. And where have you seen Vinci since? He's done 3 jobs in a new gimmick and no one's seen him ever again.
True, but it's different. You knew Vinci wasn't a player for WWE. Brian Myers and Eddie Edwards are basically are stalwarts. They've re-signed. They're guys who are with the company. They're friends with Moose in real life.
Brian Myers with TNA, if you don't mind me asking.
Hmm?
How long is Brian Myers with TNA? Like how long until his deal expires?
His deal, I heard, doesn't expire until 2026.
Okay. The only reason I was asking because I know WWE is still looking at Matt Cardona.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a bit. But all right, so we both agree on Moose. That takes us to. I'm going to skip tag team titles for now. Let's go for number 1 contender match because it's Joe Hendry, Josh Alexander, Mike Santana, and Steve Macklin. You know what they're going to do. But this is interesting because at the same time, you want to protect Mike Santana. The company loves Santana. They feel he is the real star. Hendry's the guy who right now is the flavor of the month. He's gotten over with his song and the catchphrases, but Santana's the guy who comes across as more authentic. You look at Santana, go, he is a cool guy. He is somebody that can work matches, can do everything, can be a believable baby face, can have blood feuds. We're not sure with Joe Hendry about that, but for now, it's this is basically Joe Hendry. You feel it's his match so that they can crown him as world champion at Genesis.
So that kind of fucks with my last pick, but I don't know. I kind of feel like with how they've been building Santana, because I've been catching up on TNA for this pay-per-view. I don't think he loses here. I think he gets the match next month. Not next month, next pay-per-view. And I think like I said, I think this pay-per-view might be a slight change of direction for TNA. In my terms, in terms of the booking, just because of the way they have set it up. I don't know if you put the belt on Joe Hendry now, because then his time is also his clock is also ticking in terms of how long he's staying there. We all know he's WWE bound. Do you want to put the belt on him before Royal Rumble? Royal Rumble. I don't know, Baba Wawa. Do you want to put the belt on him before Royal Rumble? And do you want him to go to the Royal Rumble with the belt? Because he's in the Rumble. That's almost confirmed. If he's not in the Rumble, I will be swerved. So unless you want to give him like a small 3-month title run before, or not even 3 months, it's the Rumble's in a month, less than a month, or slightly over a month. It's in a month. And I just don't see them giving him the belt before he goes and do that. I just don't see the reason to do it. So I see Mike Santana winning and seeing him face AJ Francis as AJ Francis' first title defense. That's just me.
All right. Do we know Joe Hendry's going with WWE?
It's all but confirmed. The WWE wouldn't have brought him in for all those dates for NXT if they weren't fucking interested. Like they bring him in for tryouts. They wouldn't put him on their television if they weren't interested in Joe Hendry.
All right. Because I keep wondering this, and somebody brought this up. At what point do people get bored of Joe Hendry?
It depends, because I see Joe Hendry as LA Knight Jr. You know what I mean? They're not the exact same guy, but they have kind of that exact same charisma with people. So I think it's the ball's in their court. He can keep the people interested as long as he can. It won't be a WWE problem. It'll be more of a Joe Hendry problem.
And that's what I mean. Like right now, he's hot. So WWE uses him, and I know that Phil Marks of Pro Wrestle Times is very, he's pounding the chest, pounding the drums. Hey, Joe Hendry, WWE. He's going straight to the main roster, blah, blah, blah. At what point, because look, Joe Hendry got over by his singing and everything. That was great. And you keep wondering, though, like, okay, when will we see the next layer? When will we see him?
He's good in the ring. He has a great physique. He can talk on the mic if he needs to talk on the mic. He's a good baby face right now. And that no one's ever seen him heel yet in the mainstream audience. So if you want to turn him heel at some point, do it and let him run with it. He's the type of a guy you can just let him do something and run with it. If you give him something viable, don't make him be the fucking leader of the male model team like they did with LA Knight.
No, I'm not saying that, but it's like you hate to say as BQ speaks, saying there's a bit of corniness to Joe Hendry. It's like, okay, yes, like and I bring that up. It was Bound for Glory. He's he comes out in the pose for as Lose Yourself for Eminem. You think, oh, he's gonna it's gonna turn around. He's gonna he's gonna be more serious. This is a world title. This is serious. And instead, he's just still smiling, like hey. Like you want to see him, I guess, be less sort of John Cena circa 20, 18 to 2020 and be more, or 2014 to 2018, never give up, never surrender, work hard, believe everything, blah, blah, blah. And all, and people just were like, okay, John, you need to just please turn heel. No, you're not turning heel. God damn it, this is corny as hell. Like for Joe Hendry, is there a part where he needs to show like he's getting pissed, he's getting frustrated because hey, Nick Nemeth is using his brother and JBL to screw him a title, or hey, once again, it is
I
Frankie
don't think you
Kazarian
do it.
screwing
I
him
don't
over.
think
Like,
you do a heel turn in TNA. No, I think you ride this
not a heel
character in T.
turn. Just
I think
show a different side. Like, hey, I'm not always a smiling idiot babyface going, ha.
I get what you mean. Show more emotion, but I don't know what he's doing is working for the crowd. So I'd like I said, let him do it until it dies down, and then if you need to heat him up a bit, do a heel turn. See if he can heat people up with that. See if he can get heat. Again, the best heels come from the biggest baby faces. So again, but like the We Believe thing, I think he's doing the initial Bo Dallas gimmick better than Bo Dallas ever could do it.
Yes,
So,
because he actually has musical talent, whereas Bo is just like Bo
leave.
and that
Yeah,
was cute for a couple seconds, and then it got annoying. But even then, it was like, okay, it's got.
but I'm saying I think if he went to WWE to where they can market this to its fullest potential, and he already has the talent, it could be something, Cody type levels in terms of marketing of a top guy. And it's not like he's every other guy on the indies. Joe Hendry looks great. He looks the part for WWE. He's a big guy. He's cut as fuck. He's got size. He's not an ugly man. Women will want to fuck him. So from that aspect, I don't see it being that much of a problem. Because again, I see him as LA. I'll bring it back to LA Knight Jr. I just see that type of potential for him to where the sky's the limit.
And I could argue he's Elias 2.0. Remember him, ladies and gentlemen? Walk with Elias. WWE stands for Walk with Elias. I mean, he was, you could argue, as over as Joe Hendry was, even more.
True.
And how did that work out? I mean, after a while, there's a part where it's like, okay, if you're the same thing, if there's no layers, WWE can just get bored and go, all right, well, we're moving on to something else, especially when we have more of these younger kids, which we'll talk about later. But so we're agreed on, so we differ on TNA World Championship at Genesis. Next is tables match for TNA World Tag Team titles, Hardys versus the System. Once again, I give the Hardys credit. They signed for an extension for another year. They seem to be reborn. And credit TNA, they're not asking to do like everything and anything. They're not asking to, as you once eloquently put it, go have Jeff, go dive off of ladders and the stairs and everything. Is it safe to say that you and I are actually looking forward to this because it's going to be a match where the Hardys look good?
Even though I still feel kind of iffy them doing a tables match at this point in their careers and this point in their bump cards. Like they're overdrawing on their bump cards at this point, both of them, and they want to risk a fucking tables match, even though the point of the match is to go through a table one time. I just I'm just worried that if they end up going through the table, Matt's either going to get concussed or Jeff's going to break his spleen.
Do you feel better if it's Brian Myers and Eddie Edwards rather than though like two of the younger guys who would try to talk him into, oh, we should do this, but spot, especially after what happened with ABC. Do you feel that this is more safer for all parties? That Brian Myers and Eddie Edwards are like, okay, look, this is what we can do, this is what we can't do. We're not going to do like jumping on, try to do a fly cutter off a top rope or a springboard cutter from the middle rope. Like they understand. Look, we can't do what the flippy dippy guys can do, but we can do this. We can make the Hardys look good.
I guess, but like, think about it like this: did you like watching Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson in their fucking 60s still going out and working hardcore matches? I didn't.
They're in their 60s though. There's a huge difference when you took it. And God bless the Rock and Roll Express, one of the greatest tag teams.
No, you're right, but that the Hardys bump count card is as much as the Rock and Roll Express in their fucking 60s. Okay, they've taken way more harder, more devastating, more toll taking bumps than the Rock and Roll Express probably ever took in their fucking career.
I agree.
And so when I'm saying, the reason I made that comparison is because if you don't want to see that, I like I said, you're not going to want to see Matt and Jeff Hardy at this point in their careers where their body are still broken down as fuck. No matter how good TNA is hiding it right now, they're still broken down as shit. I don't think they should be doing any stipulation matches like this, but this is the safest one they can do. So it's in this scenario, it's okay. But I don't think they should be doing any more going forward, because again, it takes one wrong way for them at their age to take a bump and they're either dead or in a wheelchair at this point in their bump cards and in their lives. So like,
I disagree in terms of the bump card because I think they have enough with the right people. I stress the right people. Brian Myers, Eddie Edwards, two guys who've worked everywhere. Eddie's had to rechange his style because of the knee surgeries. Brian was never high flyer, so they
it's not
understand.
them I'm not worried about trusting. It's the Hardys. I don't trust the Hardys because they may tell you, yeah, we're good, we can do some of these spots, yeah, blah blah blah, and it takes them doing one of these spots they think they can do because they think they still have a step or two, and they fuck something up and they either hurt Brian Myers or his partner, or they hurt themselves, and where are they not? Where are they next? You know what I mean? So it's just like, that's the only thing I worry about the Hardys. I think they're gonna win this match though, because I don't see them losing the belts right now.
No, I don't either. I think, and because I think TNA still has to figure out what they're going to do with their tag team division, which it's paper thin right now due to a lot of injuries, trying to figure out what's going on with Alex Hammerstone and much more. But let's get to the co-main events: Masha Slamovich versus Tasha Steelz. This is now where it's like, okay, now you've put the belt on Masha, you've taken away less of a Russian out of her. She's a pretty good babyface champion, and I love Tasha Steelz, and they're trying to reheat this quickly, but this feels like a showcase for Masha because she's now the heir apparent for Jordan now that Jordan's on her way out of the company.
I don't know. I see Masha winning this one. I just don't see her losing yet. It's too early.
The big question is, what do they do going forward? And I mean, it's okay, Tasha Steelz, maybe Rosemary at Genesis, but you got to figure like they got to do something. And the tough part is that a lot of the people who they had their designs for are injured. So like Kylan King is recovering from injury. Do you bring her back as a heel? Because people are going to want to cheer after her long injury reign. Um, you had Steph, Delander recovering, had just underwent neck surgery. Who knows when she comes back? But if she comes back, do you make her a heel? Because people want to cheer her.
I don't know. That's honestly a good question. Because I can see where you're going with that. I just, like I said, I just think it's too early.
Like, if you're TNA, do you start, working the phones and call up? I know a lot of people are going to hate this. Tessa Blanchard to bring back.
I love it. I personally love it.
And if you're Tessa Blanchard, is it time to come back? Is it time for you to realize, okay, look, I need to rehab my image. There's too many people who still think I am more toxic than nuclear waste. So yeah, I need to play nice, and going back to TNA is maybe the first step.
Listen, you don't think she's tried? I don't think it's due for a lack of trying. I think she really burned that many bridges in the wrestling business to where nobody wants to touch her. But I agree, she deserves another chance because she has the talent. She's one of the more talented women in wrestling.
Hopefully we'll see. But once again, now it comes down to the main event, and you for years, I know that you've made your feelings clear on Nia Jax, and duly noted. AJ France was in the same boat. I mean, as people called him Flop Dollar because he was top dollar in WWE's NXT, part of the Hit Row. Who can forget him trying to do a tope, off, onto a bunch of wrestlers, tripping, nearly killing himself. And we all mocked him and made fun of him. He became a meme. But as AJ Francis, you can argue he's had a great year. He's reinvented himself. He's figured out what he can and can't do, what looks good. And all of a sudden, you hate to say it here, AJ Francis is one of the best heel wrestlers in the industry in terms of getting over, getting heat, and really pissing people off.
I mean, I think he's getting heat because he's being himself. That's what it is. He's really this prickish. He's really his online persona and his everything that he is that he was in. So how do I put it? In WWE, it was too manufactured. They gave him a script and he tried to be too much of a character to where now again he's being himself. He's being comfortable. He's like I said, he's being as authentic self as he can be, and he's authentically a prick that no one likes. So that's why I think he's getting over as a heel, because people actually really don't like this motherfucker. So it's easy to boo him in kayfabe. But in terms of work, I don't see anything different than what he did on the indies, honestly. Like, he still works the same. But in terms of personality, yeah, he's found it. He's just decided to be himself.
I think he's improved in that he understands what his limitations are. Like, he's not a guy who is going to be one of these big men like The Undertaker or Damian Priest, or I'll even say Braun Breaker, who's very freakish athletes and they can do top rope moves and they can jump off top rope. I think he understands, okay, I really can't do that. But he's still a very large man. Like, he is a legit 6'6",
Yeah, he has
320 pounds.
Again, it's the Nia Jax principle. He's big as fuck.
So you've seen his moves, and all of a sudden, he's understands, well, I can do this very well. I can't do this, so I'm not going to do that. I mean, credit him. He's done a good job in terms of working matches when he's become much better. He's more Jey Uso level, but he's still a better worker than he was in WWE because he understands maybe, all right, this is what I can do, this is what I can't do, and I'm going to stick with what I can do pretty well.
I think this match will be okay because Nick Nemeth, aka Dolph Ziggler, Jesus, I said Ziggler. I need to learn how to speak today. But I think Nick Nemeth is going to get the best match AJ's ever probably put out because he's that fucking good. And not only he's that good, he's great at selling. So for a big guy like that, do you remember the sell job Ziggler did for fucking Goldberg when Goldberg beat the shit out of him that one random pay-per-view? And he's like, give me more. And Goldberg just kept spearing him out of his fucking shoes. That was possibly his best sell job I've ever seen. I think he has the potential to do better here with AJ because he's bigger and he can throw him around more. But I see AJ winning this match. I think Ziggler's had a good title run, but I think it's time for something new. And I think TNA knows the same. And AJ is the perfect type of heel to take the belt off of Nemeth.
Wow, you're getting a little bit. All right, so sell to me here because on paper I have Nick Nemeth winning. He basically starts doing heelish stuff. Hendry accuses him of, hey, you've been working with JBL the whole time. His brother gets involved. And then at Genesis, we get finally a heel Nick Nemeth versus Joe Hendry, and Hendry has to bring him back up.
I'm gonna give you a quick shocker. I think JBL comes in and clothesline Nemeth to cost him the title for AJ to go over.
I guess here's the concern, though. If you do that, and granted, we don't know a full contract with Nick Nemeth, but he's not somebody who you get a sense of, well, he's going to lose here and there to a bunch of guys. Like once he loses, he's probably done. He's out the door, and you're probably not going to see him in TNA. That's the assumption I'm getting. That once he drops the title, that he's kind of done.
I don't see that. Like I said, I see him sticking around for a while, but and if that is the case, so what? I miss them in WWE. Bring them back. You say there's no room. I think there's more than enough.
All right.
Especially
So
for a guy like Ziggler, there's more than enough. Bring him in on a Legends contract. Have him come up every 4 months, have a match,
yeah,
get
I
a
don't think he
pay-per-view
wants to
buy.
do a Legends contract. Legends is usually like, okay, you've retired, you're done, you're washed up. We can't use you in the ring, but hey, come on back here and wave, make appearances. Like I think Nick is sort of like, all right, I can still work. I can do New Japan. I could do AEW if they weren't real a-holes. I guess this will tie into one of our segments going forward. But either way, this feels like credit TNA because usually by this time there's no more live shows, everything's done. Like in the past, they didn't want to even do these, so they basically they did the holiday special, they did best ofs, and you didn't even get like live content until the following year. So we end this up with NTNA final resolution with by saying, how happy are you that the company is going forward? They're actually trying and putting on new content, later in December rather than just shut it down after Thanksgiving.
Maybe. I don't know.
Wow, you're a tough crowd.
I am. Today is just not my day, apparently.
Well, we will go to the meat and potatoes of what you wanted. That's right. No, not Twitter. I am talking. It is none other than WWE's Saturday night main event.
Whoop whoop.
So let's ask a big question. How happy are hold on one moment here. So we go to Saturday night main event. It's going to be once again this Saturday at Uniondale, New York, Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum. 2-hour special, which they're doing monthly, which already I know you're going, no, they shouldn't do monthly. Monthly is too much. Why are we doing monthly?
They're gonna kill it like Battle of the Belts.
It won't be Battle of the Belts, though, because I don't think they're going to have all this. So here's the card.
Name
So
one match this Saturday that's not for a belt.
Sami Zayn versus Drew McIntyre.
Is that confirmed for Saturday?
That is confirmed for Saturday, yes.
Okay.
So are you happy at least, though, that you get wrestling on Saturday night that's not AEW's Collision and you're not going, I have nothing to watch? And how happy are you that Jesse Ventura is providing commentary at the event?
All right. I'm going to attack your second point first. At this point, I'm not excited for Jesse being there. If he did like an interview or something with someone, I'd be more okay with it. The quick stop by, hi, hello. But to be on the whole show calling it, I don't know how much wrestling Jesse's watches anymore. I don't know if he knows anybody who's currently in the product. So I don't know. It's like just throwing a random 75-year-old man that used to be in wrestling, that used to be in this company, but hasn't been around for almost 30 years because he was persona non grata. And what would he really keep up with this company? You know what I mean? Just because that bridge was mended recently. So I don't know. But I think they're going to do a good job for the show. I'm excited to see it. I'm not excited for it being monthly because it's going to immediately lose interest because, it's just going to become another regular thing. It's not going to feel special.
But I mean,
But
it's look, it's probably also for WB Wave showing, hey, look, we have grown. This is no longer another reminder of, hey, Vince is gone. We're making amends. Jesse is back. He's in the Hall of Fame. We still want to run a company. So, hey, welcome back, Jesse. And it'll get some mainstream buzz where, hey, Jesse the Body Ventura, former governor
Uh,
of Minnesota, is here. Hey, ha ha ha.
yeah, no, it'll definitely gain interest. I'm not saying I'm not against it from a PR perspective. I'm just against it from a fan perspective. Like, I personally don't want to see Jesse at this point. Just put him in the Hall of Fame.
There he is in the Hall of Fame.
If he's not already in it, I was gonna say. And if he, other than that, and actually, they can put him in the Hall of Fame again as a commentator. They put him in as Jesse, the Body Ventura, the wrestler, but they didn't put him in as a commentator. People can go in for different things, apparently, in the Hall of Fame.
Uh-huh. Wow.
So, I think, and especially you can start inducting commentators like JR, Jerry Lawler, some of the actual best one. You can start doing commentating, branch it out a bit. The same way I think WWE should start putting matches in the Hall of Fame. The
Yeah, I
same
think
way
that's a little bit
UFC.
far. But
If UFC can do it with fights, I think you can do it with wrestling matches. Because there are certain matches that stand out above the rest and stand out through the test of time. Like Hogan and Rock would be a Hall of Fame caliber match right there. You know what I mean? Or Andre Hogan, Hall of Fame caliber match right there. Matches that have still lived throughout the test of time. You know what I mean? I'm not saying every every 5-star match should be in there. I'm saying matches that belong. Like Drew CM Punk, to me, 5 years from now would be in the WWE Hall of Fame. Once we think about it and digest it and see a couple more Hell in a Cell matches and realize how good that fucking match was, that's just what I'm advocating for.
Well, let's get to the matches themselves. So let's start off with as Paul Levesque has teased, there will be a title changing hands. So technically, this could be for the title changing hands. We will get a tournament for the WWE Women's United States Championship. Right now, the winner of Bayley versus Chelsea Green takes on a winner of Michin versus Tiffany Stratton. What do you think is going to happen in terms of who gets in, who meets in the finals, and what do you think what do you want to happen?
I want Chelsea to win. Easy enough. What I think's going to happen is I think it's going to be Tiffany and Chelsea, maybe.
Really? All right.
Tiffany would be the babyface. Chelsea would be the obvious heel. If Tiffany loses, she could cash in on Chelsea, win the belt again. Win the belt that way, anyways. They've established you can use Money in the Bank for the U.S. title with Austin Theory. So, and you won't have to take the belt off Nia. You could do something else with Nia, like the Bianca thing you pitched earlier. You could still do that by giving Tiffany the mid-card belt. It would mean something to Tiffany. Get the fucking Money in the Bank briefcase offer. You don't have to worry about her feuding with Nia. You can backtrack off of that. Thank God. And you can move Nia into a different direction to get that fucking belt off you. Other than that, I don't know what else they're trying to do here. Give Chelsea Green the belt and all you other bitches move out the way.
All right. So that's what you want, Chelsea Green versus Tiffany Stratton. And what do you think it's actually going to be, Bayley versus Tiffany Stratton? Because you said what you want. That's what your Christmas list is. You're going, hey, I want Chelsea Green versus Tiffany Stratton. Chelsea Green to win the whole thing. What do you think is going to happen? Because to me, this seems like it's Bayley versus Tiffany Stratton, and Bayley wins because she's the locker room leader. It's a way for her to help elevate other talent, and you can always have Tiffany with that Money in the Bank briefcase go for either a match later on tonight, or as you said, cash in on your favorite Nia Jax.
I don't know. I feel like if Bayley wins it, it would look too much like a demotion. But that's just me. Like, that's what happened when Roman Reigns first lost the World Heavyweight title. He got the US title, ran with it for a few months. That was kind of a demotion. You know what I mean? So, like, I just don't see Bayley winning this. I don't see her beating Chelsea. I think Chelsea's the dark horse in this. You need a good heel. You need a heel in this. I see 3 baby faces and 1 heel. Because I don't really see Tiffany Stratton as a heel. People cheer her beyond the moon. She's in the Sammy Uso role right now, where people were cheering Sammy when he was kind of a heel in a group of heels, but everyone just loved them. Tiffany's in that role. She's a heel with Nia because she's Nia's little cute little stooge, but people love her. They cheer her out the building. So I'm thinking is Tiffany right now as a babyface, even though she does heel shit because she's a stooge. So I don't see Bayley beating Chelsea. And unless Michin gets a win on Tiffany, if Michin beats Tiffany and Tiffany's not in the finals, which it would be dumb not having Tiffany Stratton in the finals. But if it's Michin and Chelsea Green's 100% winning.
See, I just don't see W doing that because look, Chelsea Green's a great heel, but I don't think they see her like as I said. It's you, it's Phil Marks. Once again, you guys are pounding the table. Hey, Chelsea Green champion, Chelsea Green top 10 women's wrestler WWE. Blah blah.
Phenomenal. She's great. She literally has all the.
I'm not saying she isn't. I just don't think WWE sees her like that. I think they look and go,
yes, and that's where you're wrong, Chris, because they definitely do see her like that.
I think they see her as
doing marketing. She's out here doing these press events. She's out here in all of the house shows. Like they're constantly using her.
Overusing her
all across their social media. I'm telling you, Chelsea Green is their ideal person in the women's division. Just as a member.
As a member, yes. I don't think they view her though. Like as you said, Tiffany Stratton is sort of their future. They look at her and they go dollar signs, money. She is everything. And Bayley.
Oh, okay. You're saying they don't see Chelsea as a top girl. No, I agree to that point. I'm saying they see her as the perfect employee. If WWE was literally drafting up their perfect female employee, it's Chelsea Green. And I mean,
yes,
work
because those two will do everything. They can switch between back and forth, plucky, determined. Chelsea's the perfect, as you said, chicken crap heel. Michin is always the plucky, hardcore baby face. But I think if this is your inaugural Women's United States Championship and it's a character you want taken seriously, I think WWE looks and goes, this is either Bayley's title or Tiffany Stratton's because they are sort of the women that can help get other people over and not have match quality lessen because they're a comedy character or they're just a plucky sort of gatekeeper character.
I guess. So then if you're asking me who I think's going to win based on what you're saying and what I'm saying and taking everything under consideration, it's got to be Tiffany. It'll be Tiffany and Chelsea, and Tiffany will get her big win to start her babyface run. But like I said, in my ideal world, I give it to Chelsea. There's a lot of mid-card baby faces now, especially the brand split is slowly melting away. Even though they're calling it this trade bullshit, WWE is going to realize we don't need a brand split no more. And like I said, Chelsea, I feel like is the more logical and viable option. Bayley at this point, if she's in the finals with either Michin or Tiffany, with the past few matches Bayley's had in pay-per-views, I wouldn't put my money on it. I don't know. Like I said, something's been off with Bayley lately. So I'm not super excited looking forward to Bayley matches the way I used to.
Well, we now have a triple threat for the World Heavyweight Championship. Gunther versus Finn Balor versus Damian Priest. This feels weird. I'm sorry. It's 3 guys who you're still trying to figure out in a sense, like, okay, what are we doing with them going forward? And I don't mean that in a negative way, but it's like, okay, Damian Priest beat Finn Balor in what we thought was the grudge match. He goes on then to take on Gunther, and Finn, Finn gets involved. Now Finn's challenging Gunther for the world title, and Damian Priest gets involved. Gunther, meanwhile, is basically all but gotten rid of Imperium, which we'll get to in a second. And Gunther's winning this. But how do you do it without one of these, either Finn or Damian, sort of look like a chump?
How do I say this in the right way? This is the worst match WWE has ever put together under Triple H's regime. Like, this is the worst booked match. Like, why book these three together in the match? Like, none of the components go together. It's like eating cereal with apple juice and ketchup. It's like none of these things don't belong here. I think it's going to be a weird triple threat because, again, you also got two big guys, one little guy. How is the one little guy going to do anything in that fucking match without the two big guys picking their teeth with him? And you're right. Gunther's retaining. I don't see any reason for Gunther to lose the belt now. Unless Kaiser comes out of nowhere and fucks him. But I'm not putting that into the ethos yet. But yeah, no, I think this has potential to be the worst match on the card, and is probably going to be everyone's go to the bathroom break. But it has nothing to do with all of the talent. It has everything to do with the booker putting these three talents in the same ring together.
So who takes the pin? Because to me, this is sort of
Priest. Priest is obviously there to take the pin. You got to further him and Finn. I don't see Finn taking a pin until Monday for when he loses those tag belts to the Viking Raiders. And yeah, I don't see any reason for Finn to take the pin. I think it's going to be Priest.
Is Priest in jeopardy of becoming like LA Knight, where all of a sudden you have this meteoric rise, and then because of circumstance, because of certain things out of his control, next thing you know, he's back in a mid card, and you're going, "What the hell just happened?"
I don't know. I think Damian Priest could honestly fit in the upper mid card role. Like, especially with the landscape of WWE now, I don't see him being a top guy with all the people who are in contention of being top guys right now.
Like, they've pushed him to be a top guy. They've wanted him to be a top guy. You can tell by that. But all of a sudden, you
Because
start looking
other people got more organically over than him. Like Jey Uso rose to the top, Sammy rose, Randy Orton came back, Cody's there. Then you got Roman, who just turned babyface. That's another guy. Then there's CM Punk. So it's like, are you going to put Damian Priest above any of those guys? Fuck no, not at the moment. That, like, those guys are your top cards. So the only spots that are open for Damian Priest right now to really be anything is in the mid card. Have him be a viable mid carder. Have him go for the IC title. Have him feud with Braun Breaker. That would actually be fucking interesting. Braun Breaker and Damian Priest in like a solid 3-month feud. That would get Priest over, and that would also get fucking Braun Breaker over. So that's where I see Priest. Finn Balor is kind of the same thing, but I don't see room for him in the mid card. So at the moment, I'd keep him in the tag team scene with JD. Have him and JD just be a tag team. Do heel tag team shit. Help revitalize and rebuild that shitty tag team division.
Meanwhile, with Gunther, it's like, okay, eventually, what do you do with him? Because you can tell that at first, people are like, oh, he's going to face CM Punk, and this is going to happen. And all of a sudden, now you start looking at Punk's dance cards, like, oh, wait a minute here. He already has something with Roman planned. We know that. Yeah, he's definitely doing a program with Seth Rollins. Anybody who thinks that him and Seth are just going to do one match on, the first day of Netflix and that's it, you are lying to yourself. This is going to be a feud because that's how they've been teasing this as it's eventually going to be WrestleMania, Seth versus Punk. There's too many people have been promised certain things. So
So
this
real quick, Chris, because this is something no one's really thinking about right now. And honestly, I think CM Punk, after that initial promo, put it in my mind, but I didn't think about it. And so I rewatched his promo today. Why is no one talking about Cody versus Punk as a possible Mania match? They got the history. They were the last two in the Rumble last year. Cody said, Punk said to Cody, I'm not losing to Dusty's kid as he lost to Dusty's kid. So there's still some fucking bad blood
true,
there.
but I'm going with the assumption, and as I said, I think with Cody, there's sort of there's a plan in place for option A, triple threat, Roman, Cody, and Rock, because Rock said, "Hey, this is my you owe me a favor."
I think CM Punk
That's option one.
shoehorns himself into that match to make it a fatal four-way. Then
but option two, and this is the one I think there's a lot of people in WWE who want this: Cody versus Cena at WrestleMania, headlines WrestleMania Night 1. Cena breaks the record and then ends up losing the title to either a Braun Breaker, a Priest. He passes the torch because hey, they they want to basically get Ric Flair off the books as 16-time tied world championships in WWE history. They want to have Cena. You get to sense something bigger is planned for now with Rhodes. Rollins has been the good soldier, and they've teased it. Hey, this has been in the making for a while. But Rollins and Punk. So as I said, with Gunther, you start looking at Gunther, and it's like, okay, what do you do with him? Because this is for him. Like, okay, he's becoming that tweener where he's the heel, but he no longer cheats. He no longer does low blows. He's sort of jettisoned Kaiser, and he's now sort of that tweener where he's so damn good people cheer him, but he's not a baby face, so he has heelish attributes. So what do you do with Gunther after this? Because you're trying to figure out with Gunther, like, okay, does he need to be dominant? Does he need to show a lot of weakness and show he's sort of this one-man band, going against everybody? Like, what do you do with Gunther in this match?
So what I think? Well, and I think the Mania plan for Gunther should be Gunther versus Jey Uso. If we're gonna cash in off of Jey Uso being this quote unquote top guy and being his own man, and he's getting more and more over, we have to remember Gunther has 2 clean wins on Jey Uso because Jey Uso tried to get the Intercontinental belt and failed twice. So I think for like Jay's big win and for that big story, if you're not going to have Gunther and Goldberg at Mania, which I don't think they're doing, I think they're saving that for like a SummerSlam or something to where they could steal a pay-per-view with Goldberg's retirement. But I think Gunther's Mania plan, and if it was up to me, I would definitely do this. Jey Uso versus Gunther, have Jey Uso go over Gunther to win his first championship, to finally slay that dragon he's never been able to slay. And after that, probably rehash the Gunther Ilya thing one time. Why the fuck not? They're going to have a good match. People will be interested in it. Reheat it up one more time. Or you can finally, in worst case scenario, you can finally have Kaiser turn on Gunther.
Well, this draws me to the next match, which this could be Gunther's endgame at WrestleMania. Sami Zayn versus Drew McIntyre. Drew is back, and like the venging, angel, he's turned his sights on Sami Zayn and everybody else who's wronged him. You and I were talking about this off air. I find Drew McIntyre he is a baby face. People don't see it, But he's the guy who keeps getting screwed and keeps getting screwed. And all these people are just poking a little bear, a Scottish bear with a stick, and he reacts. Yeah, I get it. He's being the heel and all these feuds. But you know what? Deep down, he's the babyface because Drew was right. He was the one who kept warning people, hey, Punk's, is a dark soul. And what's going to happen? We're probably going to end up seeing a CM Punk heel turn. He was right about, hey, you know what? They're going to try to put Roman back in power after all the crap, and nobody is, pushing these guys. And he's right. So how much are you looking forward to this match where it's Sammy versus Drew? You know it's going to deliver, and this you get a sense this is going to be like, okay, Drew, we're giving you a big push. We're rewarding you for having to do the job against Punk, for having to keep heating this feud up while Punk was injured. Like, hey, we won't make it right after only giving you a 5-minute world title reign.
I don't know. I think this match might swerve us. They might do what they did with KO and Randy Orton, to where they're saying this is a match, but then Drew just comes out and beats the ever-living fuck out of Sammy and puts Sammy out for a small bit. And I think this will be going towards a him and Jey Uso feud, and having him and Jey Uso go at it for a while, because Jey Uso needs something to keep him hot. He's not in any type of title pictures. He just did his big family buttline thing. He's not going to be going back to do that anymore because that's settled. He's not going to be needed for the bloodline until Mania. So you know what I mean? And it's not like it's going to be Drew versus Sammy and Jay. So I think Drew takes out Sammy before the match. This isn't even a match. I say Drew just fucks up Sammy before the match, takes him out, reads him unconscious, walks to the back, just big chaos. And then it gives more reason for Jay to be pissed off and want to fight Drew.
So you think it's not going to me, this is one of the things where I think it has to happen. This match has to happen. There might be shenanigans at the end, but this is what I think people want to see is, it's the two best guys in terms of, getting over the crowd overall without any titles, without anything. And they've made this work. Sammy, as you said, is the everyman in WWE's babyface. For whatever reason, he's, as you said,
I don't know. This match just sticks out too much. Like, I'm sorry. It just doesn't belong. I don't understand the point of this match other than Drew beats the fuck out of Sammy to piss off Jay. Because he's not going to feud with Jay and Sammy at the same time. I don't understand the multi-layered shit, but they're not going to do the payoff be a handicap match. Wow. And who's going to align with the asshole Drew McIntyre?
Hey, Drew's not an asshole. He's just the one that's right, and everybody else is crazy.
No, you're just nuts, and you agree with a fucking lunatic.
It's not a lunatic. You know who could agree with? You know who they could pair Drew with? Braun Breaker, who also has a beef with all these friggin' idiots who seem to not, understand that, hey, it's about real men. Not you and Sammy, DeeJay, these, I guess, emo men. Real manly men.
I am not emo.
That's a different story, different day. I'm going to talk about the one match that makes no sense. Liv Morgan versus Io Sky. Why is this match happening?
Because Io Sky's a fucking in-ring magician, and she's going to make Liv Morgan look like Mildred Burke.
Okay, but still, nobody wants Liv to lose the belt. Yeah, it's supposed to be, when we all know the plan. It's Rhea Ripley finally get her hands on Liv and deliver the beating. So they're not going to change his title. There's not. I know you're saying how they teased it. There's going to be a surprise ending, like Io's going to take the title off of Liv. That ain't happening. This feels just like a showcase. Liv Morgan beats Io. Rhea saves her. Maybe there's drama, but it's just, let's just skip this here. We know, since Io can't do promos in English, and Liv Morgan here has talked her way into everybody's hearts with, her revenge tour, pissing people off, chicken tenders with Dominic. This is money with her and Ray. It's like, okay, we need to see Liv get beat up. So why are we doing this?
You got to understand the perfect dichotomy to each other. Io can't speak English for shit, but she can do everything in the fucking ring, and she's an in-ring magician, to where Liv can talk her ass off. She can sell you her own tongue. if she wanted to, but she can't work worth a shit.
I
Okay.
disagree. She can work. You've put her in with Rhea, which is sort of like a Chihuahua versus a Doberman, and expect for Chihuahua to go, well, you know what? I
Do
can
that
take
good
that
with
Doberman.
either. Don't get me started on that match. Her in the fridge did not sync well either.
I said Rhea. I didn't even mention that. You gotta get an eye off your brain. You're obsessed with her in certain ways, but that's a
No,
different story.
I'm using
Anyway,
her,
we'll get back to Liv
her
versus
in the
Rhea.
match context to make my point. I'm saying Liv Morgan, she is a great entertainer, but as a performer in the ring, with the experience she has, yeah, she was just working with fucking Brody Lee Jr. And Brody Lee looked like the better worker between the two. Like when you're getting outworked by a fucking 12-year-old, I'm sorry.
Oh, stop. You are now you're all right. So you think EOS might pull off an upset? You've been teasing me like, hey,
listen, I thought I thought Io would win because Rhea would go back on her word, say, fuck this. I'm gonna fuck Liv out of her championship since she's fucked me out of so many of mine. So Rhea's gonna put on the strap on, fuck Liv out of her title. And Io will be a nice transitional champion. She'll probably have the belt for a pay-per-view, maybe. I'm not expecting her to have a long title reign if she wins it, but I don't know. Like I said, out of all the matches, and this was before I knew the women's championship match, the finals was on this as well. So I didn't know that would technically count as a title change. But I anticipated at least one title change being on this match. And if there was going to be one, Liv Morgan versus Io Sky was the one that was most likely. That's what I was saying.
let's talk about the elephant in the room here. It's Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens, the main event. Does Paul Levesque have it in him? Is he looking at going, you know what? I'm gonna put my, as they say, nuts on the table. I'm the big swinging dick move. Does he have Kevin Owens beat Cody Rhodes for the undisputed WWE Championship? Is that something we should consider the more we start getting forward to this Saturday main event card and going, you know what? If you want to make a splash, Kevin Owens beating Cody Rhodes is a splash.
No, only because I'm assuming Randy Orton comes back. He's been gone for like 4 weeks, which is in WWE's terms long enough to sell the fucking neck injury. I think he comes back, RKO's KO, RKO's Cody, because it was technically Cody's fault that he got pile driven. And they're setting up a three-way. They're going to set up this as a three-way feud. And I think it could work because Randy's pissed at KO because KO pile driven him because of Cody. It's Cody's fault that he driven KO into this because he teamed with Roman. KO's pissed at Randy because he took Cody's side. KO's pissed at Cody because Cody took Roman's side. There's layers to this shit now.
Yeah, but this is too. I mean, here's what I think WWE is starting to realize. You can't turn Randy Orton heel anymore. The fans just love him.
I disagree highly.
See,
once he turns on Cody, he'll get him to boo him out the building.
Oh, I think there's a better chance though that fans might turn on Cody than he turn on Randy Orton. He is a sympathetic wrestler.
I think you're underestimating how good of a fucking heel this man is.
Well, not, but because of what it's but I say this knowing especially what Randy went through. When you have a traumatic surge like he did, you heard the story, like he could not walk. He was worried legitimately about, oh shit, I might be done for good. If I ever come back, I cannot wrestle. They told me that. He was done for 2 years. I mean, people forget it was 2 almost years that he did not wrestle. So when he's come back and he's had to alter, like Eddie Edwards, he's had to alter everything he does. He can't lift people above his shoulders anymore. He can't do stuff he used to do because his body just won't let him. And look, when you have a fusion surgery that he did on his lumbar and back, that changes things. So for him to come back, keep doing the matches, become as somebody said, the thick Randy Orton that women love. I think he's just become that guy that people legitimately love because it's the Odysseus. He's been through hell, come back, and we just appreciate that the ending is coming soon, and yet he's beaten the odds of going from I
Tell me
could
that
walk.
after Randy Orton whips his dick out and pisses in your cereal.
Yeah, he's not going to
That's
do
all.
that. And
That's
Cody's
all I'm saying.
becoming slowly. You see people like, oh yeah, Cody's kind of a real a hole. He's Homelander basically, except he hasn't turned yet.
I don't like I said, I don't see Cody turning until he loses that belt. I think him losing that belt will drive him to a heel turn. But Cody's too marketable right now as a baby face, and Randy's too good at being a fucking heel. I don't get me wrong, I would prefer Cody turn on Randy because that would mean so much more. And heel Cody Rhodes is actually really fucking good. And
So is it too much to bring Orton in now?
no,
Especially because I was thinking about this here. They're playing all the big stuff for the Netflix, so that's when you start throwing everything. Because hey, it's Netflix debut. You don't want to saturate Owens and Rhodes. So how do you make this without just bringing Orton in? Because that's the easy part. I mean, if they're planning to do something here without rushing everything, how do you
if they
do
if they're
Rhodes
not
himself?
doing anything with Orton, that's gonna I feel like gonna be the harder task because then do you have Cody just beat KO? No, I don't think so. I don't think KO beats Cody because it wouldn't mean nothing to the grander scheme of things, to the bigger picture, especially now that we're winding down into Mania season and Cody's gonna need to be the champion for that opening of Netflix. That's kind of the sell of him being there. Nobody's gonna want Cody to be there without the championship. So I don't see Cody losing this, but I also don't see KO losing clean. I see Randy Orton fucking him in some type of way, either causing a DQ or hitting him while the ref's distracted. Maybe the ref takes a bump in some way, shape, or form. Um, but like I said, I feel like Randy Orton's gonna come in and take out KO. My dream would be he take out fucking Cody too, so we could just start that shit going into Rumble and Mania. And yeah, like I said, Randy is a huge factor in this match. I will say that it's kind of obvious how they've been setting everything up.
Well, that leads us to our next topic here, which, if you are seeing it, is AEW and Rey Fennix are feuding, and now we're not talking in the ring; we're talking out of the ring. So I'm here once again on Ringside News, and if you are following along, it's been well. First, Rey Fennix was not allowed to lead due to free agency. Now they re-upped his contract, even though he didn't want to, but they tacked on a year. And now he has basically said that he was injured and they did not, he was denied medical care, and it's AEW is a horrible place to be. Meanwhile, Tony Khan is in radio silence. And this is once again showing just how far AEW has fallen. So, DeeJay, I will start with you here. What the hell's going on?
The crazy thing is, we were talking about this in the space on Sunday, and I forgot what his name is. It's like Dr. Featherbottom or something. He's been a guy on X breaking stuff before most of these quote unquote inside dirt sheet writers. And he posted the thing where he said this Rey Fennix situation is bigger than him just going to WWE. That shit's fake news. And when they're released, a lot more will come out. I think all the stuff that Rey Fennix is saying he's only saying it because he knows it's gonna get under Tony's skin and it's gonna make Tony want to just let him go. Because of the bad press, because it's more of a pain on him and it makes Tony not look like the baby face. But I think there is some credence to what Rey Fennix is saying because Tony Khan was the guy when AEW started. We want medical insurance for the wrestlers. We want to make sure everything health-wise for them is all good. When they're hurt, they should be taken care of, blah, blah, blah. right? And ever since the inception of AEW, he has gone on to do none of that whatsoever. Usually when guys get injured, they say they don't hear for Tony from months. They have to set up their own surgeries. They have to set up their own rehab. They have to pay for their surgeries and rehab out of their own pocket because, Tony overpays them. So he figures that justifies for them to pay for their own shit. And I think that's for Tony to take the position publicly that he took early on in AEW and him to consistently do that to people, I think is shitty. I think it's wrong. And if you're really as rich as you say you are, why not pay for healthcare? It's a couple million a year for everyone on the roster. Everyone will be taken care of if you get a good enough fucking plan. Yeah, people won't be able to jump through fucking glass tables no more, but at least they'll be covered if they get hurt on your watch. But I think Rey Fennix is in a bad position right now because Tony's not going to let him go because he doesn't want to set a precedent to where if he lets Fennix go, he's going to have to let Miro go, Wardlow go, and anyone else who recently requested their release go. Fucking Aleister Black, if he wants to go, he's going to have to let him go. Buddy Murphy, if he wants to go be with his wife, he's going to have to let him go. So I don't think Tony wants to set that precedent. But he also doesn't want to deal with Phoenix's shit. Going out bad-mouthing him in somewhat backhanded ways.
Can Tony live with, because I think deep down he knows. He doesn't want, it's when he sees Cody Rhodes, world champion, WWE headlining stuff, making WWE millions and millions of dollars, that probably just, chaps his rear end. When he sees CM Punk making millions and millions of dollars for WWE, being on big events, wrestling at, at SummerSlam and Survivor Series, if it really chaps his ass also. The same goes for Jade Cargill. Same goes for Ethan Page. Can he live with that if he lets him go? But all of a sudden, by the way, new WWE tag teams, the Lucha Bros, as they are selling those masks, and WWE's making more millions of dollars, and Tony once again has his ass chapped.
I think people underestimate how hard the Stephanie Vacour signing was to Tony, how bad that fucking hit him and his ego. The fact that he let her on a pay-per-view and then 2 days later she signed with the competition because he was stupid enough to not put her under contract completely.
Forget about Stephanie Vacour. How about Ethan Page, who he let out, and all of a sudden he walks over to WWE?
No, but he had Ethan Page for 2 years. He had Stephanie Vacour for 2 nights. And not only did she have a phenomenal showing on his pay-per-view, people said that was one of the better matches on the fucking card. And I think it chapped his ass because he had a viable talent who was with him, and saw how everything was ran and worked in WWE, not WWE, in AEW, and still decided not to sign with you and go with the competition 2 days later after already going on pay-per-view for you.
Which I agree with, but the Phoenix would be akin to Phoenix and Pentagon Dark going to WB would be akin to Ethan Page, where he had Ethan was doing something at first, and basically got lost. Ethan wanted out of his contract or let it expire, and walks over to NXT. And what happens right away? They make him a big star there. He's helping beat AEW in the ratings for NXT. NXT of all friggin' shows. I mean, how much does that chap Tony's ass? Where it's like, I can't have another Ethan Page where it's bad enough I lose Cody and I lose Punk. They were WB guys, but if I lose a bunch of guys who never won WWE, and now WWE makes some stars, oh geez, and I had them and I let him go. Oh, I can see him just really getting under his skin to the point where it's like, they're all making fun of you, Tony. They're all making fun of you.
Yes and no, because like I said, a lot of these guys are just notches under Tony's collection. You know what I mean? They're not. He doesn't think about their value to the wrestling world or to the other company. He thinks about their value to him. So, and I think the Lucha Bros to the core of AEW and what AEW was founded upon means a lot to fucking Tony. And it hurt him a lot when he realized that they were gone. They didn't want to stay there. They don't want to be there no more. And Tony's keeping one against his will. He slightly extended the other one. But, and now, like I said, I think Rey Fennix is only doing this because he knows it's going to piss off Tony. And he thinks it's going to force Tony's hand. And knowing Tony, it is forcing his hand. But he's also in a bad position now because Tony's not going to set a precedent with you. Of all people, he's not going to set that precedent with you. And he's not going to just let you go away for free after he paid you while you were injured for months on end. At least fulfill your end of the contract. That's Tony's perspective, at least.
How ugly does this get, then? I mean, if you're Rey Fennix, what is the nuclear option? Is it you threaten Tony Khan because, hey, that worked for CM Punk? He wanted out.
No, fuck that. You sit home and you collect your fucking check. Work in Mexico. Tony will let you do independent dates, hopefully.
Yeah, ask Ricky Starks how that went. I mean, Ricky Starks.
I was gonna say, unless he's getting the full Ricky Starks treatment, to where he's not letting him. You're just sitting home collecting a check. Then fuck it. Sit home, collect the check, go to the gym, take up knitting. I don't fucking know. Maybe sew some new mask ideas. Cause Tony ain't letting you go for a while.
As I said,
unless Tony wants to set that precedent.
No, but I don't think if you were Rey Fennix, how far do you take this to the nuclear option? Is it you file a lawsuit? Do you threaten Tony? Hey, Tony will back down. As CM Punk says, if you make Tony fear for his life, CM Punk made Tony Khan fear for his life. Tell your friends, tell your grandparents, tell your next door neighbors. Hey, everybody should know that because Tony just said, I feared for my life. He might be able to get out. He just screams something, some curses in Spanish, makes the throat slashing symbol, and I'm guessing that Antonio might, pee his pants and let Rey go because he will fear for his life.
I guess I don't. With CM Punk, it was different though because it happened multiple times. There was multiple times where CM Punk put Tony in compromising positions to where he had to be a boss. No, I was gonna say yes. Sadly, that's a compromising position for Tony, but Tony doesn't want to be a boss all the time. He wants to be everyone's friend, and he wants to be the booker. That's it. He doesn't want to be a boss. So when he's forced to be in positions to where he has to think like a boss, he doesn't do it comfortably, or he doesn't do it rationally. So I think Rey Fennix is trying to push him to the irrational part. And I don't think Tony's going to go that way, especially now that he doesn't have Mega in his fucking ear anymore. Thank God. But
all right, I'm going to bite. Why the hatred on Mega?
Oh, I think she was just an incompetent executive. And there's more than enough factual evidence to point towards that. Let alone the fucking rumors. Don't even get me started on the rumors.
Oh, no, you're already here. You've been dropping F-bombs and everything else. So might as well go to rumors. What rumors here?
The apparent rumor that she likes to sleep around with wrestlers, especially certain ones that like to sing about Judas.
Which leads us to our next topic here, and I apologize, people, I'm typing this up. Chris Jericho will be defending his title, his Ring of Honor world title.
I thought you were going to say defending himself in the court of law against the NDA.
No. Against Matt Cardona. So let's start, and I apologize, people who I'm typing this up because nobody wants to go, why is this idiot typing? But yes. So, well, I can't bring, here we go. We saw basically that Matt Cardona is going to be taking on Chris Jericho at the Ring of Honor final battle. And of course, Matt Cardona is with GCW. He's a hardcore king, but he wants everybody to know he will sign with AEW and WWE if they offer him a bag, creative and cash. 2 parts. How pissed should GCW be right now that Tony has screwed them with pulling certain guys, not letting them compete, using their guys and never really promoting GCW. And part 2 is how pissed should GCW be at Matt Cardona that, hey, we were drawing the line, we're not going to let Tony walk over us, and our champion just walks over to Ring of Honor and AEW goes, yeah, hey, I'll take on Chris Jericho. Woohoo!
Honestly, I think it should be C, the third question. How pissed is Ricky Starks right now? Because honestly, it wasn't about, it was put out there on purpose that it was a GCW issue to take the heat off the Ricky Starks interview that just dropped the day before all that shit happened. You think Tony's going to honestly react to an FE podcast that happened the week before? And then the day after Ricky Starks drops an interview with Chris Van Fleet, he's pulled off of a GCW event. And then less than 12 hours after that, the story's leaked out that Tony was pissed about some apparent comments that Effie said. Not even the booker of GCW, just a random fucking talent. So you want me to sit here and believe that shit instead of Tony pulled Ricky Starks because Ricky Starks said the truth to Chris Van Fleet and exposed bullshit that goes on in his company without exposing all the bullshit that goes on in his company, and said, okay, never mind, Ricky, you can't do any type of public appearances no more. You're going to sit home because you're making me look bad. So again, free Ricky Starks. Ricky, I hope you hear this. Tony, fuck you, because you're a prick. Because if GCW really rubbed his nuts that bad, Matt Cardona would not be here. And Moxley and Marina Shafir, or whatever the fuck Mama's Milk's name is, they just did Bloodsport 3 days before the Ricky Starks interview. 2 days after Effie originally said the comments. So, again, there has been worse shit that has been said about Tony by many other people. He's never reacted like that before. Why now?
Well, I don't know. As I said, this all ties into just everything that's going on, though. As I say, it's Ricky Starks is part of it. But let's get to GCW first. How pissed should they be right now that it's like, okay, TNA warned us about you, Tony, but we just said, hey, we're going to keep on this working relationship. WB warned us about you guys, but hey, we'll keep this working relationship. AAA warned us again about you and you guys. We ignored them. We're keeping this working relationship. And again, it's Tony screwing another indie promotion. And if you're GCW, how pissed should be that it's like, okay, everybody warned us. TNA, AAA, MLW, WWE, they all said the same thing. Hey, Tony Khan likes to play fast and loose. He makes a lot of promises and he breaks them, and you have to basically do what he says. And we said, hey, we'll still work with them. And yet, as we've seen, they've blamed Effie. Ricky Starks was pulled. Oh, by the way, they're doing Ring of Honor Final Battle at the Hammerstein Ballroom 3 days before GCW. It's like,
and now they're stealing their champion 3 days before their big show.
Yes, I mean,
even though it kind of helps promote, and I would think it would be more the opposite. It kind of helps promote their big show because now their champion's going to be on a big major pay-per-view. So like,
except they're not going to mention GCW. They haven't mentioned GCW at one time during this whole Cardona Jericho feud. It's just, yes, Cardona's the king of indie deathmatch, but he wants a shot at Jericho.
Again, I'd bring it back to my last point. I'd be more pissed that Tony put out that story and put that story out to the press that Effie was the one that fucked up the relationship with GCW and blah, blah, blah. When in reality, it was just all because of Ricky Starks. Again, GCW was, I believe, friendly fire, just a casualty in this. Because I think the real story is Ricky Starks and what he said and the treatment he's receiving because of that. And I think we were all just thrown on the scent of this GCW drama bullshit. And that's what I would be more pissed if I was on the side of GCW. Tony, why are you painting that picture? Why are you making that narrative? We're letting your stars come over here and get put over and blah, blah, blah. They're obviously still letting you use their stars. Even though, honestly, I think Matt Cardona can do whatever the fuck he wants. But you see what I mean? Like I said,
so this I guess is the question that not only TNA has to ask, but GCW has to ask. Is it time to let Matt Cardona go? Just like, hey, look, we had fun, we did some matches, it was cool, but we can't trust you because you're out for yourself, which is fine. That's what every wrestler has to be. Matt Cardona is the ultimate free agent. He's the hired gun right now. He's trying to get that bag and that deal from WWE to AEW. I don't think it's going to happen. I think at this point, if AEW and WWE hasn't brought you in yet, that's a sign like, hey, look, no kind of means no. We don't want to say no, but kind of got to take a hint. We ain't signing you to a long-term deal on your, demands. It's either take this or leave it. And as I said, if you're TNA and GCW, you are still like the ugly stepsister that's being picked because you have no other option. At what point should they just tell Matt Cardona, hey, you know what? Thanks, but no thanks. Go somewhere else.
I don't know. Matt Cardona is still over and is still a star to the indie base, which TNA you have to put in that indie base now until they like completely turn their fans around. Once they get into like the hundreds of thousands again, then we can take them out. But until then,
I take them out right now. They have Hardys. They don't need Matt Cardona. Matt Cardona is like, because and as I said, I like Matt Cardona. He's a guy who's gotten himself over, but it's like, okay, how many people are going to buy a ticket for Matt Cardona?
A lot.
Who are not going to, who are we already haven't bought a ticket for the Hardys, Moose, and let's say even Joe Hendry. It's like if you are a fan of Matt Cardona, you probably are a fan of Hardy, so you're already going to go. Same with GCW. You're going because you want to see Bloodsport and all this. And if Matt Cardona was there, great, it'll help. But hey, look, we don't want to keep getting circled, pardon my language, circle jerked around here. And you go to AEW, you don't even help us, and then you come back on, hey, we're out having fun. Like, I'm guessing shouldn't there be like repercussions? Like, hey, look, you're not The Rock. You ain't selling 10,000 seats. You maybe bring 200 or 300, but it ain't worth our time and aggravation.
I think at this point in Matt Cardona's career, he still has a lot to contribute. So I don't think they axe him anytime soon. He has a lot to contribute, not only in the ring, but behind the scenes as a press.
Like, what does he offer? I'm trying to figure that out. I get it. Look, he looks great. He has a hot wife. He knows how to market himself, which he does a great job of.
He's an established veteran. He could teach young guys to work, especially on the indie scene. He can help get people over. He can expose people to a broader audience because, again, on the internet, he is a thing to that audience, to that big internet audience of 800,000 people. He's big to them. So that's enough people, at least in this modern wrestling landscape. So, like,
but is it though? Like, who has he gotten over? Let's say from TNA, who has he gotten over that TNA goes, hey, look, we really helped us out.
Did he not get him over?
Who?
Brian Myers.
Not really. Brian Myers got himself over with the original learning tree gimmick, and with working with Moose and working with, you could argue, Eddie Edwards. Like Brian Myers got himself over. Brian Myers, I give more credit to. Brian Myers, came up with a lot of stuff that Jericho has stolen. Even Jericho has admitted, yeah, I kind of took it from somebody else, but hey, that's a different story, a different day. I think there's just a lot of this. Hey, look, it's Matt Cardona. We all fell in love because he was one of those guys who got hosed by Vince. He had some great matches in TNA when he first signed. Then he's reinvented himself as the Deathmatch King. But as I said, at some point when it's like he comes in for a couple dates, and that's the way he treats it as. Hey, you have some dates. I'll do what I need to do, but I'm not here for the long term because I want AEW. I want WWE, even though it's safe to say that Tony has no interest in signing Cardona to a deal that he wants. Same with Triple H. Like if they wanted to, they could have signed them, but they could have signed him. But at this point, it seems like, look, WWE and Tony are both telling you, cash and creative, not a deal. It's either take this, go back to the Indies.
Yeah, no, and I think just Cardona's happier on the indie scene. Let's be honest.
So at what point, if you're the Indies, if you are TNA and GCW, does it get to that point, especially now, especially after everything AEW did, that there must be, you look and you go to Matt, go, yes, thank you, but we had some last part here. You have no problem taking money from AEW and screwing us because you're hot and horny for Tony Khan.
Like I said, how do we know that he's screwing GCW? And GCW didn't just sit here and say, no, you could go do the date.
They can't tell him no, so because he doesn't have an exclusive contract, but he could have put two and two together and went, you know what? They've been good to me. Tony's not bringing me in this long-term deal. And oh, by the way, the ring, we're trying to do GCW and Hammerstein Ballroom, and now AEW is going to burn that market.
No, because I think GCW is seeing it as free publicity. Their one of their main top guys is going to do the Hammerstein Ballroom 3 days beforehand. So if they see Matt Cardona there 3 days beforehand, and they know that GCW is going to be there in 3 days, because I'm assuming AEW didn't get any exclusivity on the ballroom, so that show's still happening.
No, they didn't. But you're giving AEW more credit. You're going, oh yeah, if they're going to announce that Matt Cardona is a GCW.
No. I to finish my point, I think that's why I think Matt Cardona is doing it in terms of trying to get exposure onto the GCW brand, or that's how he explained it when he took the date. And like I said, I don't see it hurting GCW in the long run, him doing it. If anything, I think it helps them, give them free exposure on Tony's television.
Yeah, I don't know about that. We'll agree to disagree, but we'll move on to that's right. Nope, hold on a second here. We're going back to the big match, which is that's right. Oba Femi, Trick Williams. Oba is back. You are happy. Your partner Ropes is happy. All is well. So all right. So how happy were you when Oba came out at the last event?
Listen,
NXT.
You heard me pop. Okay, you heard an audible pop like Oba. So you knew I was into Oba returning. I thought the Iron Survivor. I thought it was the perfect match for him to return because there's only one way to make a monster look like that strong: feed him a bunch of little guys, and it worked. I thought Oba Femi looked like a beast. I think he's got the look, he's got the size, the work. He just needs to get more comfortable with being a monster. But once he gets it, he's $1 million. He has the same potential as Braun Breaker, but for different reasons. And again, he's one of the few guys who can get the foreign menace thing over in modern wrestling. and it's great. And I can't wait for him to beat Trick. All hail Oba.
So how do you do this with Trick and Oba? That's gonna be the question, because if
Don't ask me. Do not ask me, because we all know how I do it.
all right,
Oba
how would
goes
you
in,
do it? Because I know you're just going okay. So let's hear DJ's.
Oba goes in there, pancake, one tackle, pancake, 1, 2, 3.
So you
Okay.
do a 15-minute squash, wouldn't you?
I do a 15 minutes. I do it 15 seconds. 15 seconds. As soon as Oba gets in there, glom him, hit your finish. 1, 2, 3. Get him the fuck out of there. Start the reign of Oba. Start it off hot. And then if Trick wants a rematch right after, he can hit him with the, oh, you caught me off guard. I want a rematch. I want you to take me on at my best. You know, classic babyface shit. And then maybe, just maybe, he gets his rematch. But again, that's how I'd book it. I don't think Trick should be too competitive with Oba, especially how the last finish of the last match went. We all know how I felt about that.
Does NXT have a male problem with in terms of this? Like, it's Oba and it's Trick, and then there's a whole like different next tier, especially now with Ethan
Oh
Page.
yes, 100%. Like NXT has a male problem. Like right now, the draw for NXT is its women's division. Like that's why they main evented the pay-per-view. That's why when you look at the NXT ratings, their best segments in terms of the ratings are always the women's segments. It's always the guys segments that go down on NXT, because no one wants to watch the guys unless your name is Oba Femi or Trick Williams. And I think the issue is the men need to figure out what the women are doing to keep the people entertained. The women are being wonderful personalities and are having good matches, and it helps that they all look great. So I think the guys' issue are, you need guys who are more personable, less on the smaller side and more on the bigger, more good physique looking side. And I think you need to have guys with really, really good personalities and who can just turn that up a notch when on camera. Because that's where all the best gimmicks come from, is when you're just being yourself and you just turn up that knob just a little bit. Like Randy Savage was really like how he was on TV. The way he talks to a motherfucker on TV is the same way he'll talk to you in person. And I just feel like they just need to find more people who can tap into that. Like Ethan Page. Ethan Page is a perfect example. He's being himself, but is just also turning it up just a little bit to make it work for wrestling. His gimmick and his personality and his character that he's portrayed is not far from who Ethan Page really is.
So again, though, if you do the 15 seconds, and because that's the thing, it's like whoever Oba has to win, we know that. But Trick, it's like, okay, if he loses, where does he go? And if you move on, where does he go for the next feud? Because they're not bringing him up yet. He still needs, because of the roster and Raw and SmackDown being so, let's just say, bloated. That's a polite term to say. Because of the lack of time they're trying to get, they have for everybody on both rosters to get over and to get TV time, and that there's no dance partner right now for Trick or even Oba right now. What do you do with the two of them when it's like, okay, the winner goes here, and then the loser goes, we're not sure, and we're not sure who the next either heel challenger is going to be or the next babyface challenger is going to be, because there isn't an answer. I was thinking about that. They don't have, Oba's next feud after Trick and Trick's next feud after Oba lined up, because it's not many that you can go, well, yes, this is a next logical one.
Well, with Oba, you don't really need like serious logical feuds at the moment. You could just give him a run as champion and let him beat guys. You don't really need too much of a plan for Oba right now in this moment, because he's going to run with that belt for at least a minimum of 6 months. With Trick, if you're not going to call him up, I would bring them down to the NXT American title picture. Have them face a Tony D'Angelo. Have them work towards that title after you give them a rematch with Oba if you need to run it back. But with Trick, I'd keep him in towards that higher mid card, or still keep him in the upper card. You know, you can still have Trick main event. He doesn't need the belt to be interesting, and he needs to learn that. Like, just because you have the belt doesn't make you the most over person on the roster, which is the truth. Obafemi is the most over man on that roster. More over than Trick, I would say. Trick is only over with his music, but as a wrestling personality and just as a person, he's not as over as Obafemi. So I feel like Trick would needs to learn how to flounder without the belt and keep himself interesting. To where Oba needs to learn now how to keep himself interesting as the top guy, as the main champion. See if he can carry this brand. Which I think to me it's a no-brainer. Oba can do it. But that's where I think you can do a Trick Williams. Keep him in the higher mid card, maybe keep him in the main event scene a bit, but have him work more on getting his personality and his issues over without the belt than needing the belt as a crutch to be over. Because the belt is supposed to be a tool to get you over, but not a crutch to keep you over, if that makes sense.
All right. So before we let you go, we got to ask a big question here. Everybody wants to know, and
no, Chris, I will not hug the fridge.
No, I wasn't even you. As I said, you need help. You need to seek psychological help. I'm saying that the question everybody wants to know here is, who are your picks? Saturday night main event, December 14th. You gave us your picks for TNA Final Resolution. So who are you picking? Give me what you think is going to happen Saturday night main event, only on the Peacock channel.
All right. So all my picks are going to be based on what I want. It's going to be nowhere near what's going on in reality. So I am setting that preface right now. I want Chelsea to win the U.S. tournament. I want Io to win the women's championship, because that's going to be my title change if they have one. Gunther's going to win the world title match. Like I said, I don't think Sammy and Drew's going to be a match. It's going to be more like the KO Orton thing. It's just going to be a big giant fight that's kind of like a match, but not a match. But if they do have a match, Drew's obviously winning. I don't see no reason for Sammy to beat Drew. And then Cody's beating KO either. No, I think KO wins via DQ because Randy interferes and Cody keeps the belt. Or Randy interferes and helps Cody wins the belt. Randy's interfering in that match.
So let's get to realistic. The degenerate gamblers are calling you going, hey, DeeJay, we need to play some bets here. What's going to happen? Even though you shouldn't bet on pro wrestling because it's rigged. It's fixed, you goose. It's fake. And not that, not in the don't get hurt term, but in the this is all rehearsed term. So once again, degenerate gamblers call you to go, hey, we're placing bets. Who do you think will win?
All right. In the realm of reality, it's going to be Tiffany, Liv, Gunther, Drew, Cody.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, it's always great having on the show. Even though he curses up a storm, he has a hatred for certain people. And, well, him and Nia Jax are currently not seeing eye to eye. I give from the Wrestling Ropes podcast, I give you, it is DeeJay. DeeJay, so where can fans check you out at? Where is the Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, the YouTube channel, Spaces? Like, where can fans hear you guys at?
So I just made a YouTube page like 2 days ago. We're on YouTube at Rockin' Ropes, ROC, capital N, Ropes. And then follow me on Twitter at CornyFan, CORNY, fan, FAN, 8876 on X. And we do spaces usually every Friday and Sundays around 7-8 p.m. night. And we go for about 2 hours. But we always have great guests, awesome guests. and we piss off people.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, I give you it's DeeJay from Rock and Ropes Podcast. Check him out. Always an honor, pleasure having him on the show. We come back. A lot more going on here. Only on its last call. Last call with the alcohol. Only on the Last Call YouTube channel.